y'all, it's Natalie Dill for Cherry on Top today, and this month our Technique Tuesday is focusing on home decor. So I decided to make a really cute wooden bead garland today. Garland, I don't know if that's the right word. It's just a little piece of home decor that you can kind of drape anywhere around your house, and I decided to make mine Halloween theme, but you can make it in any colors and you don't have to really decorate your tassels. So it turned out really good, and I think I'll probably end up making more as gifts and stuff around the holidays probably. So yeah, just so it doesn't just have to be Halloween. So stay tuned here. So I got a couple of packages of wooden beads from the Cherry on Top store, and I'm leaving this part in there because I'm going to show you the way I started painting the beads and how that didn't work out. But first, I have this piece of jute string, and I wanted to use it to string the beads, but it was too thick to fit into those smaller holes. So I just cut it the length that I wanted, and I kind of spread it up, took it apart from the whole jute string like you would an embroidery thread. And 2 strands went through the holes very easily and were very sturdy. So I decided that 2 strands were good. And that's really great if you want to make a bunch of these for gifts. Like you could get maybe 3 different garlands out of 1 piece of jute. So now you can see I started painting some of these wooden beads orange. And I'm like holding them with my fingers, and I'm getting paint all over me, and I'm just a hot mess. And it was going to take forever. And I'm like, look, this isn't working out, right? So I went to get baggies. And then I realized, well, I mean, Cherry on Top packages all of your supplies so lovely. Like I didn't even need to go get baggies out of my kitchen. Like they come with baggies and they package your stuff in baggies all the time. So you can even use those. But I just put all of my beads inside of a baggie, zipped it up after I put some paint in it, and just like roll it around in there, and it gets completely coated in the paint, and it's 100 times faster probably than using a paintbrush. Then I dump them out onto a paper plate, just a cheap old paper plate, and I'm gonna like kind of swish them around in the plate, kind of separate them. I use my paintbrush the end of my paintbrush to kind of like spread them apart, just so that none of them stick to each other while they're drying. And they dry pretty quick because it's acrylic paint. And yeah, I'm just gonna let them dry for a minute because I want to use what you see there. That white is called unicorn spit, and it's actually a wood stain, and it's in this store, and it smells good. Like it doesn't stink like what you think of wood stain. It has like a really nice smell to it, and so I highly recommend this stuff, and a little goes a long way. So I'm using that, and that's in white. I have the white color, so I'm doing the same technique with additional beads in a baggie, gonna put them on a plate. And it's not as opaque as the paint, but it almost is. And then I'm also going to use some of the wood beads just as is with that neutral, natural wood color. And a tassel? No, these aren't tassels. I'm trying to think of a better word than garland, but maybe they are garlands, wood bead garlands. And you can see the wood beads are all different sizes. And you could do them all the same size. Personally, I really like the different sizes, and I didn't kind of do a pattern or anything. I just kind of threw them on there, whatever looked nice. So, and I didn't do like any specific colors. Sometimes I would do 2 of the same color next to each other, kind of like an organized chaos look. So I just string them on. I did use some washi tape around the end of the jute string to kind of give you like the end of a shoelace and allow it to go through the hole of the bead easier. So I'm just threading them on. I did a double knot at the end and left a little bit of a tail and made sure that the knot was big enough so that it wouldn't go through the hole of the wooden bead. And some of the wooden beads that you may choose to buy could be like a lot bigger than mine, and you might have to tie like a bigger hole. You would also probably want to use more strings of the jute in that case as well. So there, I didn't make you watch me do the whole thing, but I'm tying it up the bottom knot because I've made it as long as I want it. And you can make it as long as you want it or as short as you want it. But I thought that would be enough to drape on a bowl in my kitchen or something like that. So I'm showing you, I made that white tassel, and I kind of did it as an example. And now I'm going to show you how I made it. So take an entire skein of cotton embroidery thread, and I'm going to pull out about 13 inches of the white thread. I'm going to keep it in its little, what do you call it? Like the wrappers that come around the skein. I'm going to pull out two 13-inch lengths of the string while keeping the rest of the skein in the little wrappers. And I'm going to take one of those strings I just cut, and I'm going to tie a knot. I'm going to fold it in half to make like a loop, and I'm going to tie a knot in about 2 inches down from the loop so that my loop will be 2 inches tall. And then I'm going to take that loop and I'm going to spread out the bottom 2 strings, and I'm going to lay down the skein of thread right at the middle. So I'm just folding it in half to kind of find the middle. And I laid it the wrong way. You lay it up and down, and you use those 2 little bottom strings to tie it really tight. And I tied a double knot here. So tied it really tight in the middle. And if you're not exactly in the middle, it's okay, because you can kind of like move it up and down the skein of thread to find the exact middle. So I tied it really tight. And now both of those will hang down to be equal with the rest of the strings. So now I've taken off the wrappers, and I'm going to use one of them to slide back over the top where the loop is, and I'm going to slide it over the entirety of the skein where it's folded in half, okay? And I'm going to slide that, I think I did like 3/4 of an inch. And so I'm going to take the other string that I cut, and I'm going to measure a little bit longer from the top of the group of thread, and I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to wrap. You can see I'm holding the loop on the wrapper of the skein, and I'm taking the longer string and I'm wrapping it around the tassel like 5 times. And once I do that, I'm going to tie it really tight. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not true. I'm going to pull it back through that loop. And when you pull it back through that loop, you can use the other string to pull tight, and it will kind of tie that bit around the top of the tassel to hold it in place, and it'll kind of like disappear. The knot will kind of disappear up into that wrapped string. And you might need to slow this down and look at that a few times before you can figure that out, but I hope that I explained it well enough. Now I'm getting a needle with a big enough eye to stick that top thread through. So one of the threads were going out towards the top loop, right? And so I want to just thread that and bring it back down so it will end up in the same direction as all of the other strings of the tassel. And mind you, you still have the wrapper on the tassel, because I'm going to pull it all the way down till only the very bitty bit of the bottom is sticking out, and I'm going to use that wrapper as the guide of cutting off the bottom of my tassel so that all the bit that was looped up will now be open, and I'll have a free-flowing tassel. And I actually kind of missed a few strings, and I just go in and like trim it up a little bit, like giving a haircut, like cutting bangs. Also, I don't recommend cutting your own bangs. Don't do that. I mean, unless you're going through something, that's fine, but I wouldn't recommend it. So there, I have 2 little white tassels, and they have loops at the top to connect to the ends of my garland. So I tried a bunch of different things, and this is the way I decided to do it. And there probably are a lot of different ways that you could attach these tassels to the jute string. But I decided to use that same embroidery needle, and I'm going to put the tassel thread through the eye, and then I'm going to bring the needle up through the knot and the first wooden bead. And then I'm just going to take, I'm going to work with it here. You can see I have to fight with it a little bit, but I'm going to take the loop out of the eye of my needle. And so it's just sticking out through the first wooden bead. And I'm just going to wrap it around that jute string and give it a little tie. And then I'm going to cut it off. I don't think that it's going to come loose. This isn't really an item that is going to have a lot of handling. Nobody's going to be, well, I never say never, because my kids might find it and pick it up and swing it around. But anyway, I don't think that knot's going to come loose. And even if it does come loose, it is still sewn through that knot as well, the jute knot. So I really don't think that this tassel's going to fall off. So that's why I felt comfortable going ahead and cutting that off. So I'm just going to trim down the jute ends because I didn't want them to show. I wanted the white tassel to just be the ends. And I tried a few different enamel dots, but my tassel is a little bit small. So I wanted to make them into ghosts since it was a Halloween garland. So I'm just using my Nouveau drops. And they worked fabulously. I just want to tell you that I would definitely let them dry for a full 24 hours before you touch them or try to move them or anything, because it would be really sad to make this cute little tassel and then ruin it by like messing up your Nouveau drops, because we all know how easily that could be done. But the Nouveau drops worked really well, and I'm going to show you a few photos here and you can see how well they worked. So I hope you guys were inspired to DIY this little bit of home decor. These would make really cute keychains if you made them shorter as well. I have a lot of ideas, so you might see me doing some of these for some gifts, maybe around Christmas time. I don't know. We'll see. There's the little ghost. He turned out so cute. Check out A Cherry on Top, the link down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, y'all.